Hey, Donald Miller here. I have a question here that we'll go over. I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not, but I'm going to read the question and I will go from there. Donald, seeing as how you are brilliant at making videos that answer questions posed by your subscribers, I have a perfect question. A little bit of an ego there, thinking your question's that great. Relating to a situation I am in where I work in a commercial company on a big job, multi-level, multi-building apartment complexes, where I am apprenticed to a company who submitted a competitive price to win the job. Okay, so it's a publicly bid job. All right, and who needs the job to progress at a specific pace. How am I best to balance learning, working at a profitable pace, and assuredness of the safety of the installation, specifically concerning electrical verification testing? Thank you. Well, one, bro, stay in your wheelhouse. If you're an apprentice, what are you gonna do? You gonna investigate the company? Like, you can, like, pay attention. Like, if you're on a job of that size, you probably already passed your OSHA, or you shouldn't be on that job at all. All right. But really, so when you publicly bid when you're doing public bidding, usually the company is bonded. There's people in the office. Like, the whole team has to work together most of the time in order to be bidding on projects like that. Okay, like, you're not going to take a guy in a van and he's going to go bid a large project. And if you do have dreamers like that, I usually give, so you don't go chasing waterfalls. Put it best by TLC. But seriously, like, if it's a job that size, okay, what you don't want is, you don't want a company that is chasing the dream. You want a company that has an office staff. They have a foreman. There are mechanics. All these guys are working together to get this job done. So, as an apprentice, your concern would be more about your workload per day. Like, is it an 8-hour day? And then if it's an 8-hour day, just follow your OSHA. Like, don't get me wrong, okay? Don't be an OSHA stickler, being like, oh my gosh, there's a piece of MC on the ground. Yes, if there's a piece of MC on the ground, pick it up. Okay, now don't get me wrong, I've been on jobs where there's so much MC on the ground that, that's when it gets dangerous, okay? Like, we did an apartment complex like 15 years ago, and we had to do the security lighting for the complex. And, we were in attics, I think, all of it. So we were able to start a little early. But typically, the mechanics and the foreman are usually setting up the safety protocols for the job. And, you're looking at, I lost my screen here, a company who's submitted a competitive price to. So normally, like, when you're competing with these public bids, there's a lot of, you have to explain your bid. It's not like you're going in as a low bidder. Even the low bidder, they have to show that they have room for materials. They have to show that they have room for labor. And usually the low bidder doesn't get the competitively bid. It's the lowest acceptable bidder. So if you have a competitively bid job, and let's just say it's 1 million, 1.5 million, and 2.5. Like, if everyone is 1.5 and up, they won't accept a $1 million job, because most likely the guy isn't including things, okay? And they're going to run into problems. They usually have a window that has to be met, and that window includes correct pay, at least if it's an open bid, okay? Don't get me wrong, like there's been some companies that I would not bid for anymore today. Let's put it that way. There's been companies that I had to go and circumvent and go to the client and get my money because the company wasn't competent enough. But as an apprentice, you shouldn't be worrying about anything like that. All right. As an apprentice, you should really just be focusing on, completing your daily hours, focus and find time for your education, and see who you're learning underneath, see who your mechanics are. All right. Pretty much it. It's not your responsibility to make sure the job progresses at a specific pace. Okay? You're an apprentice. Right? That's the mechanics spots. And if they need more apprentices on the job, so be it, Now don't go and skate an 8 on that job and think you're going to get away with it. What is the best way to balance learning and working at a profitable pace? Well, one, if you're an apprentice, you're not making any money. So it's not like you're profitable to begin with. If you want to deem apprenticeship as any, compare it to college, okay? People in college aren't getting paid. So when you're an apprentice, you're getting paid next to nothing. And it's because you're kind of in college, okay? Or you're an intern. You're lucky you're making the money you're making, all right? So I would more focus on learning. And then safety. Well, one, if you're installing things, there should be a mechanic going over what you're installing, all right? And verification testing, well, there's rough inspections. You have your mechanic on top of you. He should be inspecting your stuff. Or if you feel your work isn't safe enough for what you're doing, you need to talk to someone. And you need to tell them that, hey, I'm questioning my work. I don't think it's safe enough to be left alone. Please inspect my work. And put a red flag out there and let them make that call. All right. What you don't want to do is, if you're an apprentice, you don't want to take a position of a mechanic, and because you're not, right off the bat, you're not confident enough to do that. Okay, but that's a problem that happens in this trade, that people bite off more than they can chew, and they think they can run around and be a mechanic, and we get them on jobs and they don't conduct themselves like a mechanic. A mechanic has a good amount of experience behind them. They've seen a lot, okay? And they know how to put up with stressful situations without blaming others. That's what makes a good mechanic, that you can throw them on anything and they can kind of muscle through it and figure out what needs to get done to make it work correctly. All right. What doesn't make a good mechanic is when the guy starts pointing the fingers at everyone else around him and starts blaming everyone. That's not a mechanic. That's a guy making an excuse why he can't do his job. All right. So if you're an apprentice, be an apprentice, okay? As far as working at a profitable pace, that's not really your call. That's your mechanic's call. And if he's saying that you're working too slow, are you? Are you not fit for this line of work? Okay. Or are you too young in the trade to produce what they want to produce? That's a conversation that you need to have with the mechanic that's on top of you. All right. I think that you didn't really give me much more to work with there. So, just answering that question. God bless. Enjoy your Tuesday, everyone.